so it's taken where the ball was in the centre.
So Garlick's going to have the first kick tonight, an explosive start. Darcy gets rid of his man in Barnard. In hard there was Solomon. They've got some hard nuts at the back, the Bombers. They won't roll over. They might have a year or two ago. Wine's got it. Wanted to give it off to West. Goes back into the centre. Dent delivers to half forward to Winmar, and he's got him. Well, I'm glad I asked you that question, John, at the start of the night.
Yeah, well, there really are a few shows of strength at the moment, Bruce, so it'll be a case of the umpires being very, very alert to what's going on.
Winmar about 80 metres from goal. He's had a very good season in terms of goal kicking. 20 goals into Curley, who had the job on Modra last week. He's got Mercury, we've been told, this week. Centre wing, so despite the free kick, the Bulldogs haven't been able to really advance or pinpoint kick to Croft. Now they're getting closer again at 70 metres. Bombers with players everywhere filling holes here. It's a fair bit at stake in this match. Playing for the Whitten Cup, not only the big 4 points, the kick to fall for, grand front spot, didn't quite Wellman in his 100th match. Little chip pass was good. Mercedes' hands were terrific to Barnard. Barnard bangs it to half forward.
Barnard's kick, Robbins is there. He's being harassed by Buick, but he's able to gather the ball. He did pretty well in the finish. Kicked it across the half-back line. It bounces in the favour there of Dimatina, but Dimatina lets himself down badly.
Gee, that is
missed the target by a big margin, didn't he?
He had two players, Darcy and Croft, loose on the wing, and he really tried to give it that extra bit of hook around and caught it mid-ball.
Chase, Dean Wallace and Craig Ellis are probably 120 metres away from the footy, and they are going hammer and tongs behind the scoreline, so could be on.
Blumfield for the Bombers. Kicks to half forward. No mark taken. Mercury's little kick, very clever. Very, very clever. Solomon has the ball. He's marked about 48 metres from goal. There are the protagonists, Dean Wallace and Craig Ellis.
And he really does know how to make something out of nothing, Mark Mercury. He only had a moment.
They're trying behind the scoreline. And Craig Ellis just trying to push Dean Wallace over the fence, so there's a lot happening.
Solomon goes for goal, kicks the ball right to the line where it's punched through by Scotty Wine. And there in the foreground were Mercury and Curley. Wallace is on his backside, and it is fantastic, this start to the Bulldogs versus the Bombers Friday night clash at the cricket ground. Good crowd in. We'd probably be expecting around 60 to 65,000 people. The kick-in has been marked by Garlick. The umpire's found a free kick away from the marking contest. It's gone to Heffernan. Heffernan into the pocket. Wallace is on his own. Must have lost the ball in the life, surely.
Yeah, he lost in the life because he really wasn't anywhere near the ball and didn't look to be making an effort to get there.
Now this could be a free kick.
It is. It's
and that could be a free kick too, John.
Well, Craig Ellis ran in and just bowled over Dean Wallace, and
no, he didn't, John. He got pushed into. Well, he did with Wallace.
Yeah,
he got pushed into David Howlett. He certainly didn't intentionally do that, but
good acting.
The contact with Dean Wallace was certainly intentional, but Dean Wallace has milked it for everything he can get from it.
Any smartness there by Rioli, do you think?
Oh, look, I just think everybody has to be very, very aware that the contact has to be genuine before they react to it, because the players will play up.
So Wallace goes for goal. No distance.
Oh, he's missed everything.
He's missed a lot, has he? It's out of bounds on the full free kick for the Bulldogs. So Wallace not able to convert. Ellis will let him know. Go, Dip.
Robbo, I'll just give the Essendon bench. Mark McVeigh, Peter Somerville, Mark Johnson and Mark Fraser.
Somerville starting on the bench.
Actually, Paul Barnard now is on there and Somerville's on the ground.
Okay, Dipper. Curley to bring it in. Gets it outside 50. And Ellis, unopposed, takes the mark and rolls off too easily. Kick into the centre. Long getting back. He's got it. That's a bad kick from Ellis. So Ellis and Wallace are both a bit nervous with the footy at the moment. Long's kick, well weighted, marked by Mercury. Now an interesting stat on Mercury, he has not kicked a goal since round 7. Now I reckon this is the biggest drought he's had in his career so far. He's gone a long time without kicking a goal, but he's normally a very, very good shot. Gee, this game has got a lot of feeling in it so far. Good shot of the angle. Mercury is very careful, he's missed, may not have made the distance. Punch through for a behind, so 2 behinds to the Bombers.
Bruce, I'll just bring up the date with those benches again. It's Mark Fraser, Mark Johnson, Peter Somerville and Mark McVeigh. And for Western Bulldogs we had Nathan Brown, Leon Cameron, Michael Martin and Jim Plunkett.
Okay, so Somerville is sitting it out.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dipper. Couple of behind so far. Dent goes wide. Garlic a target. Carosella was there. In over the top was Solomon. It'll be a boundary throw in. There's the bench, Cameron and Martin. Martin playing for the first time since round 4. Damien Drum having a chat to him last week. Now the weather tonight, it's currently 9, expected to get back down to 7, but it really is good conditions for football.
Gee, we had a beautiful day. It got a little cold in the afternoon. Alessio to Heffernan to Long. Long's left foot kick quickly in towards full forward. Ellis, Buick, beautiful roving by Darren Buick. Hey! Oh, the shot at goal was very good. Montgomery may have taken it over for another behind to the Bombers.
Certainly gave the crowd something to cheer about there at Darren Buick, but when you hook it back from this angle and the amount of bend on the ball, it's basically impossible to thread that through the sticks. And a fantastic effort from Montgomery, who wasn't quite sure where that goalpost was.
So the kick in has found Garlic. Oh, Krediuk spilt what he probably should have taken, but able to recover, get the ball to Johnson. Johnson's kick to half forward, covers the players in that area, favours Wellman. Wellman quickly onto the right boot, kicks it out wide. Alessio taps it to his own advantage. He's got plenty of time and plenty of space, and then delivers to half forward. Carosella has the ball. He's not quite up to right half forward, out in front of the Great Southern Stand. That's Matthew Lloyd providing the lead. Carosella just holding the football up momentarily, then goes short into the pocket. Heffernan still too far out to score, about 65 metres from goal. Delivers in front of Mercury. I'm sure he's going to be just that little bit too shrewd, if there's such a thing in football, but he's got a smart footy brain, and Todd Curley's going to have to be right on his game to keep up with Mark Mercury tonight.
Difficult kick from this pocket, and particularly after his last kick where he didn't really follow through. He'll need to, he's looking for a target.
He's passed it off to Buick, back to Mercury, forced to kick with the left. It will be marked by Johnson. Johnson with the ball between fullback and centre halfback, quickly on, kicks it out very wide. Croft from behind, couldn't take the mark. Recovery was good. Gets it away to Krediuk. Krediuk's kick along the line has found Dimatina.
With some space, drawing the man to him, over the top, good handball to Powell. Winmar's on the lead. Powell decides to go towards Grant at centre half forward.
Great setup, great setup.
Stephen Powell, he chose the right option there. He saw Grant coming in from centre half forward, basically across the goals 40 metres out. It was the right kick, but just a little bit too heavily weighted. Grant had to hold back, use his body weight against his opponent, and he took a fantastic grab under great pressure.
Hasn't been such a goal kicker this season, but has run into very strong form of late. 12 goals, 14 he's kicked, so he's been a bit inaccurate. These are the testers for Chris Grant. This will get him off to a flying start if he can goal. He's 48 metres out, and he's pushed it and missed. Only twice this season, Jason, he's kicked more than one goal in a match, which is a surprising stat for him.
Well, Dipper mentioned it was a bit greasy, and we've already seen at this early stage a couple of balls really slide off the outside of the boot. Fletcher,
who's marking Winmar at the moment, so that's a sort of a mismatch in a way to himself, and then very wide and long, gets it to centre wing. Dent's hip and shoulder was good on Carosella. Wine got a finger in there. Solomon slow handball cut off by West. West to Dent. Dent with a little bit of space. Little kick was cute to Croft. Back to Dent. He's about 70 metres from goal. Good start. Smith can bang it all the way from here.
Dent was good, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He followed it up 2 or 3 times, but it wasn't bad disposal either. At full pace, he absolutely drilled it over about 15 metres, and it never went more than 3 or 4 feet off the ground. We see him receiving again, doesn't he? Just drill it in there.
4 goals last week, Smith. He's a big goal kicker. He's 50 out, and he too has pushed. Is it a mark to Darcy? Grant, I should say. He has. So the Bombers will be disappointed there. Grant improves his angle, comes around, and... No,
go back.
Yes,
come back, John.
He did it well.
Yeah, Sean Wellman was probably 2 or 3 metres over the mark, and David Howlett calling him back to get on the spot, and Wellman basically either not hearing him or ignoring him. So when Grant decided to go, it was after time on had been blown. So
what's the odds he does it again, John?
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
Well, he's had practice at it now.
The Bombers have woken up though, because there's a guy in there now just off to Chris Grant's left. You can see there.
Great shot of the angle. So will he run around? Will he try check side? He runs around, left foot. Gee, he's done it again. Well done, a goal.
Didn't he do it so beautifully? Bulldogs lead by 4 points. Scotty Wine, Michael Long. Now Solomon at the feet of Blumfield, gathered it all right. Hand pass just a little shy. Barry Young in there, struggling. So was Barnard. Wallace it was. Over the shoulder. Solomon to take the free kick.
Yes, that's right. Exactly as you called it, Robbo. Over the shoulder, so Solomon to take it.
Solomon in towards full forward. No mark from the contest. Carousella left it behind and eventually trundled over. Darren Buick to watch it as Joe Masidi is in the middle of the action there. Bulldogs 7, lead Essendon 3, and not quite up to the halfway mark of the first term. A couple of the interesting matchups. The one in the middle, the one we're going to watch. Dean Wallace and Craig Ellis.
Right forward pocket. Bombers now trailing. Alessio just taps it out. Barnard, little toe poke towards the front of the square. Attacking hard, Crediuk. Kick was off balance. Will probably find the line at half back and does for a boundary throw in.
Sorry, Bruce. It's interesting, Robbo. I mean, we're all aware of that Wallace and Ellis matchup, but the one thing the umpires shouldn't be is over-aware of it. They've just got to treat those two like any other two players on the ground, and that's tough.
7-3 here, so Chris Grant the goal scorer, Long running onto it, Garlick with him, Long may get a second go, back to Alessio, well done by the big fella, Mercury, Buick, clever, well done, it was a good setup to Barry Young. This will test Barry, but he's having a wonderful season. 4 goals so far this year, turns 29 tomorrow, and I reckon he's playing the best footy of his career.
And just looking at Barry Young there, he's really giving the ball a good wipe onto his jumper. It's obviously very greasy, and as we've seen, most set shots from this sort of range have been very tough today.
Let's see what he can do, Jason. He'll kick from just inside 50. Good view of the angle. Starts it out to the right. It's staying there, and the Bombers are inaccurate early. They've had 3 rush behinds, and now Barry Young. So they crawl up to 4. And Western Bulldogs 1-1. Terrific crowd here.
Yeah, Bruce, there's no bruise out here. Very still out here tonight.
Dipper roving that boundary line as he always does on a Friday night. Dent bangs it out hard.
Oh, Montgomery up high, but flew a little early. Heffernan and Solomon. Now Montgomery's appealing for a free kick. I'm sure the umpire will just come in and ask the boys to maybe settle down, John.
I'm sure they would be. They would have said that a number of times so far tonight, and hopefully as this quarter progresses they will.
Right half forward, up high was Barnard, gathered by Masidi, productively to Rioli, across towards half forward, beats everyone except Crediuk. He was 3rd in line. Scotty Wine, ever composed, to Curley, into the middle of the ground. The bounce may favour Johnson, it does, runs away from Heffernan, the little kick is not bad, knocked away from Winmar by Fletcher, gathered by Rowan Smith, a flying shot at goal by Rowan Smith, just out of the grasp there of Chris Grant and through for a behind to the Bulldogs. 1-2-8, lead Essendon 4 behinds.
Brad Johnson obviously copped a knock after disposing of the ball. He's limping. I think he's got a bit of a cork in the left thigh, limping quite noticeably.
He was a bit suspect. He went off the ground in the last quarter last week against Fremantle, and it was mentioned in the paper today that we'd probably have to keep a close look at him, and he certainly is favouring his leg in the early part of this game.
Hardwick outside 50, target Wellman, Darcy did pretty well, Masidi on hands and knees, Solomon's had a lot of it early, back to Sean Wellman, Wellman's kicked to centre wing, Buick front spot, Robbins was good, Long's cut off well by Montgomery, Bulldogs in there, there's 2 or 3 of them over the top of it, Wallace claiming though, Allison has got him for holding the ball.
Yeah, and I think that was a team free kick. The umpires have been told that if two or more teammates have got the footy trapped like that and one of them is tackled, then the free kick is paid against the team, which is quite a dramatic change to the interpretation of the rule, but that's been around for a little while now.
Dean Wallace centering the ball. Lloyd's going to be a target, but the fly comes from Blumfield. Darcy able to take the mark. So the Bombers have struggled from half forward on in this match so far. They've had most of it. Powell out wide, it's called play on. Wine gets back to Powell, Powell to Garlick. Garlick on to Montgomery, back to Powell. The good play coming out of defence.
Wallace hit high, Bruce. Wallace running into tackle, and I didn't pick up who the shepherd was. Matthew Croft, actually, we see it again here. That's the contact on Dean Wallace above the shoulder, and clearly a free kick, Jace.
Clearly a free kick.
Yeah. Milked that beautifully.
He went down like a bag off.
I'm with you, Jace.
You said not to be overaware of that contest. I think they are, and every time he throws his arms up, he's getting a free kick.
At normal speed, that was pretty ordinary.
Kicks to Carousella at centre half forward. Bombers with numbers. Little give Young was terrific. Blomfield can't quite get a kick away. Lloyd will be under the gun, tries to get it back. It's a hot footy. Mercedes, Barnard, round the body. Barnard is close. It's a goal. It's a goal. Sensational start. Terrific team goal by the Bombers.
It certainly was. I must say, one of the best smothers I've ever seen from a big bloke. Scotty Wine, I thought that he'd actually prevented the danger. I thought he'd got rid of it. As we see that he just threw himself at it, and I thought, well, he'll get the Bulldogs out of trouble here. But in the end, the ball spilled out from the Mercedes handball to Barnard. He just threw it on a boot over the shoulder, showing a great awareness for the goals.
Well, there wasn't much in that, was there? We saw the side-on shot, and it's been awarded a goal.
Dimartina to centre-half forward. Well done by Darcy. It comes back to Pryor. Free kick to the Bulldogs, to Darcy. Winmar and Barry Young, Rowan Smith, Paul Dimartina, Paul Barnard. There won't be much quarter given there. Michael Pryor on the outskirts. So Darcy to get the free kick. John, you're getting a good view now. Well,
yeah, I mean,
bank crash.
That is very indiscriminate, and you know that's just a shocker. If Fletcher comes in like that, then he deserves to be penalised every single time.
Darcy's okay by the look of it. Good player, this kid. He's got better and better as his career's gone on, has really established himself. 41 of those games have been consecutive. So he's played a couple of seasons without being dropped and has become a very valuable player. He can kick a goal. He got 3 against the Blues in round 9. It's his best return so far this year. He's normally pretty accurate. He's kicking right on 50. He's very careful with it. He might have just pushed it across, but Croft's got it. So the Bombers have had a couple of problems up there. Grant earlier in the quarter on the goal line, and Croft about 3 metres in front. So again, you can see them double tagging Grant, tying him up all right, but Croft coming over the top and from the side, and they haven't marked him up. So there's the angle. Well, Chris Grant was on a tighter one. Croft will probably be a little more orthodox here. Going in for the drop punt. He's kicked it pretty well. He likes it. 2-2, so it's 10-14 here. 4-point margin. Alessio building it back. Ellis attacks it hard. Wallace puts a strong tackle on him, and Young's handball was quick as it was earlier in the quarter. Solomon to Mercedes to Pryor. Pryor bangs hard inside 50. Caught underneath it. Carosella, no free kick. Interesting. Crediuk pushed off it by Lloyd. Robbins running out of room. Hook back the kick. Solomon on hands and knees. Montgomery with him. Solomon's pretty strong. Kept his feet, but then kicked the ball out of bounds on the fall. It'll be a Bulldog kick.
Yeah, young Matthew Robbins doing a wonderful job down back. He's looked very sharp and reading the play particularly well at this stage.
He's got the big job on Buick, Jason.
So the kick from West to half back. Fly here now, might be a free kick.
Yeah, clearly a push in the back in that marking contest paid, so that will be taken. A free kick awarded against Sean Wellman.
Thanks, John, to Chris Grant. Red armbands for the Bombers tonight, Dipper. Why is that?
Yeah, the Bombers are showing their support for Sid's Red Nose Day, Bruce.
Thanks for that, mate. Wine to Grant. Grant back to Wine. They've made a bit of a mess of this. It comes back to Grant. He's gone. Well, no, he was given. Yes, he is gone. The call coming in pretty late there from the umpire. Well, originally he's going to let it go on.
Well, the first call was in fact play on, Bruce, so I'm surprised that the second call was incorrect disposal, because he certainly saw that first attempt and called play on. He called play on immediately after that because Chris Grant punched it out, and then immediately after it signalled holding the ball. So I would suggest that maybe there were a few second thoughts, and that's a bit of a disaster for an umpire to have second thoughts.
Well, Dean Rioli, the recipient of the free kick, it certainly was a funny decision in the finish. Rowan Smith gets the hand pass away. Grant, gathered by Mercury, but by gee, he was poleaxed pretty quickly. Scotty West gets it out, and the run support of Rowan Smith can't quite get away from Mercedes. Croft has tackled beautifully. Mercedes hand pass, chance here for Powell and Barry Young. Still Mercury working industriously at the bottom of the pack. Craig Ellis tries to force it forward for the Bulldogs. It goes over for a boundary throw-in, just forward of centre wing on that outer side in front of the Great Southern Stand. Bulldogs 14, lead Essendon 10. Goals for the Bulldogs from Chris Grant and Matthew Croft, and Essendon's goal kicker was Paul Barnard. Rowan Smith to regain his footing, David Howlett, Matthew Norton and Stephen Hanley, the officials here tonight. Croft knocks it down, gathered by Young, just tries to force it forward, rugby style. Ellis, little toe poke, gathered by Hardwick. You can see the pressure because the boys are making some errors by hand and by foot. Blumfield, Rioli, now Mercedes, quickly down into the Essendon full forward area, in front of Alessio. Barnard to Crummett, with Crediuk, two lousies on their respective teams, Crediuk and Paul Barnard, and that ball is going nowhere. The umpire will have to bounce about 25 metres from the Essendon goal. Bullies lead, there's less than a goal in it, so it's been pretty tight. Just 3 goals in nearly a quarter of football. An exciting opening where a free kick was given before the bounce to the Bulldogs, taken by Scott Wine, where Wallace and Ellis had a dip at each other, and it's been pretty tough and hard in and under for the remaining 23 minutes that we've watched this game. Bulldogs 14, lead Essendon 10, and Kevin Sheedy, the everlasting coach of the Bombers, working very hard on the phone down to the interchange bench.
Alessio and Wine, no one really getting a hand on it. Alessio recovered, then ran out of space, handball back, Dent goes to the line, finds it. It's going to be hard to see a lot of goals scored tonight because of the conditions and also the pressure so far in this match. Terry Wallace working hard as well. What a great record both these coaches have had. Wallace in a very short time, Sheedy over 19 quite remarkable seasons. Alessio to a bit of space. Curley under the pump now. Mercedes was good. Barnard, well done. Comes back, snap. Is it behind? Coming from Mercury. So close, 11-14. Mercury getting a fair bit of it early. But this has been a tough first quarter. Really has been difficult to find space. And with the ball being slippery as well, it makes effective disposal a difficult thing.
The kick in is pretty good. Robbins gets the hand pass away to Dimatina. Dimatina down the ground, a high, fairly long kick. Well marked by Hardwick. Very reliable Damien Hardwick. Lloyd under a bit of pressure down the ground. So was Barry Young. Was he held when he didn't have it? Oh, that could be a free kick against him. Watch out, Barry Young. The umpire ignores it. Winmar and Barry Young still behind play. The football between wing and right half forward, favouring the Bombers. Alessio a little fortunate. Solomon got the ball to Mercedes. Mercedes shot at goal. Very good, smoking. He's got a goal for the Bombers.
Well, this has been a very volatile game early. Look at Barry Young having a go at Nicky Winmar. Kevin Sheedy playing mind games during the week. He said that he didn't want to play a young kid because he was afraid he might get roughed up by the Bulldogs. I'm not quite sure who's doing the roughing up. It's a little bit both ways at the moment, but plenty going on between Barry Young and Nicky Winmar. Damien Hardwick just played on and resulting in a great goal to Joe Mercedes.
G. Solomon's playing a first quarter. He's had 10 disposals, 7 handballs. He's getting a lot of the hard ball. Wine took it out of the air. Terrific game here. Heffernan's tackle on Johnson. Johnson doesn't look fully fit. It's going to be interesting to see if he can run this match out. He's interesting. He kicked 13 goals in his first 6 matches this year, Brad Johnson. 2 in his last 6. So he's changed his style a bit. He was fruitful early. He's always a good player. Terrific talent. Powell. Dimatina probably wants the line in the end, had no room to move, bangs it out wide. Blumfield there with the West and a boundary throw in. They've been fast starting teams, both of these. In fact, the Bombers have led at quarter time in their last 6 matches. It's a pretty impressive performance, and the Bulldogs haven't been far behind them. 2-5 to 2-2. Young and Johnson, no, free kick maybe to the Bombers, bit soft really.
Yeah, Bruce, as an indication of just how different this opening quarter has been from many other games this year, that's the 16th free kick for the quarter, and we haven't yet reached the 26-minute mark.
Young kicks the ball into the heart of the centre square. Alessio the target, he's got him. Some good signs for Essendon here. To Wellman on the run, bangs towards Lloyd, great kick, got him. Wonderful stuff. It's an airy, it's a behind. Manny Lloyd Well, Wellman's kick was super. Lloyd's finish, not so good.
Well, that's just a shame.
Good.
Matty Lloyd took the mark. It was a great kick coming in from Wellman, and all of a sudden, once he turned around, he thought, gee, the goals are just there, I'll throw it on the boot. But Steve Crediuk reacted very, very quickly to apply the tackle. Just meant that it was basically an air swing and then tapped it through for a point.
Well done, Steve Crediuk, and a terrific bit of vision there for everyone to watch. That it's not over until that fat lady starts to gargle and get something out. Lloyd hurt as a result of being brought down by Steve Crediuk. Curley's kick across the line, Johnson. Well, we've already mentioned that Brad Johnson looks a little restricted in his movements, so that will be a bad blow for the Bulldogs if he happens to go to the bench. Dimatina, Powell, you're gone! Absolutely in trouble, and must get a free kick, Barry Young. Second man in the tackle, but by gee, it was good teamwork there by the Bombers. The kick into the centre has been taken by Heffernan. Essendon lead 18-14. Heffernan's kick across the line, look for Caracella. There's a young gun versus an old Bulldog. Scotty Wine versus Blake Caracella, and it's all squared up. The umpire will bounce.
You find Matthew Lloyd coming off and Mark McVeigh about to come on. The runners with Matthew Lloyd now.
That's how he did it. Just awkward, wasn't it?
Twisted the ankle. I think he just got caught underneath.
So we'll see. His progress will be important. Caracella brought to ground, free kick. It's a free kick to the Bombers. They actually kicked a goal after it, but it'll come back to Caracella against Dent. Gee, going back a moment ago, the Barry Young second tackle, Rioli was magnificent to hold Powell in his progress.
He was, and it just meant that by the time Powell was wrapped up, he'd had that prior opportunity to dispose of the ball, and then he was gone.
Free kick paid for holding Caracella without the footy, and as Bruce would say, it certainly looked soft.
Well, I don't think either side's going to get too many opportunities tonight, and it's going to come down to making the most of it. Shots like this from Blake Caracella, you just have to convert in these conditions. Well,
as Robbo said, he kicked 6 at Footy Park 3 weeks ago, then got 3 on the Friday night match a fortnight ago against Geelong, so he can kick a goal, and he really should goal from here, and this would give the Bombers a little break just before quarter time. They've had the best of the first term, no doubt about that. They like it. They like it a lot. He's got it. Lloyd coming off the ground, so there's been some drama in this opening stanza. That could be the key to the match as to whether this young fellow can come back or not.
Although you do just think, as we see there, it just got caught underneath Steve Crediuk's leg and it twisted underneath. You just wonder in these conditions if either full forward is going to kick a huge bag, but he certainly is an important focal point for the Bombers.
He has a presence, doesn't he, whether he's kicking goals or not.
17 times Essendon have been inside their forward 50, 6 to the Bulldogs so far in this match. Lopsided stats. They've had 9 scoring shots to 4. Ruck work being done by Alessio, but gathered by West. West, right foot kick in the direction of Grant. Gee, it's such a big plus to keep your footing, isn't it? Grant to West and short to Dimatina, and it was all about Chris Grant keeping his footing across that half-forward line.
Chris Grant was brilliant, not only keeping his footing and keeping his balance, but the way he handled the ball in the conditions, and then whilst being tackled, shot out a slick handball, which allowed Scotty West to set up the play to Paul Dimatina.
So Dimatina, a little late there, Hardwick and Wellman, but the umpire sees nothing in that. Dimatina goes for goal, good kick. Excellent kick by Paul Dimatina.
A minute remaining now, and Dimatina strolls out, jumps the target and then belts it to half forward. Awkward looking kick. Croft there with Hardwick. Hardwick, little gift to Wellman. They do play close together and very effectively. Heffernan's kick was a good one. Masiti kicked a terrific goal in the quarter. Back to Hardwick. Wants to straighten up on the right leg. Kicks down the line to centre wing. Mark taken by Mercury. About 20 seconds remaining. 50. Well, that brings him in to a scoring range.
And so it should be, I was going to say, Bruce. Todd Curley then hanging on to the jumper, clearly going over the mark by a good 3 or 4 metres. Would have been expecting the umpire to call him back, but Todd, when you go that far over the mark, the umpire's not going to call you back. Yeah, 2
John,
or 3.
I can see what Todd Curley's upset about, because after Mercury takes the mark, he starts tracking off the line of the mark. You look at him cut infield, trying to get across in front of Crediuk, and that's what he was going off at.
Yep, that could well be the case, Chase.
Well, as I said,
because if he lets him go, he's going to play on. That's the problem. That's why he didn't want to let go.
Well, mentioned earlier, that good shot of his angle here. This is right on quarter time, by the way, so this is a big play. Mercury has not kicked a goal since round 7. I doubt whether he's had such a drought in his career. He was a bit nervy early on. Kicks for goal, and he's missed again. He's struggling.
He's really stabbing at the ball. I mean, he's only just made the distance there. The first time from 40, he didn't make the distance. That time it's only just carried off the line. You've got to follow right through.
Shooting as if he knows those stats, Bruce, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably not the case.
His mind.
Yes.
I'm sure he knows about it. Dent belts it out wide. Carousella, Garlick. So the Bombers miss an opportunity here. Johnson kicks towards centre wing. Grant the target with Wellman. Wellman belts it away. What an interesting opening term we have. For the 7th consecutive week, the Bombers are in front at quarter time. But in a way, I reckon the Bulldogs have taken the points.
Well, they have. You'd think 3-7 to 3-2. The Bulldogs have made the most from their forays forward. The Bombers have missed quite a few opportunities. We've seen McCurry on a couple of occasions. A sorry sight, Matty Lloyd. We don't like seeing him on the bench, but hopefully things will pick up and he'll be back on later in the game.
Well, that is going to be a key, one way or the other. At quarter time here, it's it from Wine and belts to full forward. Croft the target. Hardwick was terrific. Put his body in front. Kicks to the space. Powell runs onto it. Kick too far for Winmar, who runs back hard. Barnard, well done by both players, and then Hardwick coming in as a sweeper and goes to the line, and it's a boundary throw in left forward pocket. The Bulldogs attacking here. 4 changes of leaders. We see Fletcher being treated here. The lead changed 4 times in the opening term. Not much scoring, but plenty of activity in terms of who was just in front. So Fletcher and Lloyd, both ends of the ground, key players. Plunkett with a chance, hooking back. I think he's kicked at the kid. He has. His first goal in league footy. He'll remember that.
Just wasn't working.
So the umpire to restart play. Solomon again kicks the ball to half forward. Good mark by Steve Crediuk from behind Dean
Well, that's
Wallace.
50
metre penalty. What's that for, John?
Undue encroachment over the mark, Robbo, as Jason called it. Dean Wallace just trying to put a bit of pressure on Crediuk. Went over the mark, and the umpires are told if that encroachment is undue, and one step, 2 steps, 3 steps, that's a 50-metre penalty. That's not a call me back.
So no standing of the nonsense there. Steve Crediuk kicks towards half forward. Grant away from Wellman, couldn't take the mark. Besieged to the Bombers' defence now, and there's some desperation by both players there. And it was Pryor maybe penalised, is it?
Yes.
And Johnny, I think one of the problems there was they had 2 Essendon players over the ball.
Yeah.
And look, it really doesn't matter whether there's 2, 3, 4...
50-metre penalty here too. Bluing Michael Pryor.
Yeah, unforgivable. That is unforgivable.
Now, I've got a bit of a theory on this. If it is demonstrative and everybody at the MCG tonight can see what is being, or that there is aggression being shown towards the umpire, then I'm happy with the 50. But if it's between 2 men in the middle of the MCG and we don't know about it, then I think we just should let it lie. Whether it's a 50-metre penalty or not, and Grant will kick an easy goal, the umpire is always, that's his second for the night, the umpire is always going to be, whether he's right or wrong, the coach will not accept the excuse from the player that it shouldn't have been a 50.
Didn't he get right in his penalty being awarded against him?
And those 2 players you mentioned, Bruce, Fletcher and Lloyd, won't be back on the ground, and I'll keep you up to date with Fletcher once this bounce finishes.
So they're gone for the night, Tipper?
I think so. The bench is down to 2 players now, Bruce.
Well, that makes it hard for a coach to take Pryor off when he does something like that on Wallace, doesn't it? Makes it a bit tricky. They're down to 20. Long needs some magic tonight, as he's done so often. Masiti forced to kick at a hurry. McVeigh got up very high. Crediuk goes towards the line, never got his foot to it, and now tackled. Should probably be a ball up. It is.
And Winmar's come off as well, Bruce, with a cut head, so expect him to be back on. He's off with a blood rule. And also Merv Kane, the Essendon runner, is off the ground. He's hurt his calf as well, so it's all happening down here.
Gee, big fly by McVeigh,
wasn't it?
Brett Montgomery, like, this is the sort of stuff he does. Free kick, is it to...
Yeah, he's paid it for holding, so
Alessio.
It will go to Alessio.
He's a genius, David Howland. If he can find one player there infringing against the other, more so than the opposition.
I think he dragged him down after he went down, didn't he, John?
No, it was paid in the ruck contest, as Robbo said, Jace, and umpire clearly signalling that the arm was held, and as Robbo said, it would have been very, very difficult for Dave Howlett to have determined who the instigator in that contact was and who was doing more than his opponent.
Tough kick this. He is a goal-kicking big man, but this is a long way out. 49 metres. He's gone and hooked it, and it's just got him from behind. 3-8 to 5-2.
Bruce, just with Fletcher, they're not quite sure exactly what's wrong with them.
We're seeing Lloyd, but I'm going to interrupt you. We're seeing Lloyd on crutches just behind you.
Yeah.
So he's leaving. And what's the story with Fletcher?
They're not quite sure at the moment. It's one of those injuries they have to wait until the game's finished, but it looks like he's hyperset in his knee and could be out for 2 or 3 weeks. We'll just keep up to date once I find out a bit more.
Well, it's a sad sight to see Lloyd leaving the arena like that. Solomon with his 12th disposal kicks in the direction of Mercury. Carousella, Heffernan, left foot back to half forward, but dead in the front spot. Signs are not good at the moment for the Bombers.
No, there's a few of them really have to stand up now with a couple of their guns off the ground, and we watched Matthew Lloyd on crutches going to the change rooms. So the Bullies with the advantage, and they really have to capitalise. Johnson has the football. He's deep in his defensive half of the ground. Goes short to Powell. 32 plays 26. The Bulldogs lead. Powell's kick into the middle is good. Finds Garlick. He's able to run away from Wallace and then kicks the ball towards half-forward Grant. The body language for the Bulldogs is looking very, very healthy. Grant has the football, 55, maybe closer to 60 metres from goal. Get a chance like this, you really have to put a couple of goals on the scoreboard to hurt the opposition. And Solomon over the top, nothing much in that. Hardwick jumping, Chris Grant. Grant looking for someone to go back into the square, but that might be a blind. He goes wide. Smith, dispossessed by Pryor. Pryor allows the football to trundle over, and the boundary umpire will throw it in about 45 metres around from the Bulldogs' goal. Dustin Fletcher, a disconsolate looking Dustin Fletcher on the boundary line.
So the Bulldogs inside 50. Grant and Wellman. It's going to take a mighty effort now for the Bombers to really stay competitive and win this game. Plunkett, Young, Hardwick, Johnson's toe poke towards the line. A boundary throw.
Dust up there.
Actually, it's a good move that Lloyd's going off the ground, because it's very cold down here, and with the amount of bandages he has on his ankle and the ice, his foot was actually turning blue. So I think he's going to make sure he gets nice and warm in the rooms.
So making that slow trek. Wellman and Grant. Solomon, Grant over the top. Grant again, he's working hard at the moment. Plunkett went without it. Dimartino, Young held him up. Dimartino stays.
Please,
Bryers kick out to half back. Carousella over the top. Buick just too easy. Robbins got rid of him. Good kick towards Croft, and Croft timed it much better than Barnard. Bouncing ball behind.
Now, Johnny.
Yeah, Jason, I think you hit the nail on the head earlier. When the environment is as intense as it has been in the first 1.5, here we see Paul Dimartino clearly held
drives him
into
the ground,
and no free kick. Barry Young should have been penalised. He's held, and the footy's out in the middle of nowhere. We see umpires probably bouncing off the walls a bit, missing things they should pay, and paying things they shouldn't.
Michael Pryor to himself, and then well outside his defensive 50, Dent, but well gathered by Dimartino. The short kick is good. As I said before, the body language for the Bulldogs, they're right on top in this passage of play, probably since the start of this quarter, and they must capitalise and hurt the Bombers on the scoreboard.
And that's always the danger when you play a zone defence for the kick-outs. If the ball's turned over, it means the opposition forwards aren't manned up, and there's always plenty standing in space, and on this occasion it was Rowan Smith.
Yet to kick a goal in this match, but knowing his kicking ability, he gets the distance and he gets the accuracy. He has got the goal. So Rowan.
No Lloyd, no Lucas, no Hurd. Well, I guess all teams have big injuries, but they're 5 powers down. There's no question about that. They've kicked the last 4 goals in the game. The Bulldogs, that one just before quarter time from Dimartino, and 3 since. The scoreboard's still pretty close, but right now you get the feeling that this game could be a real blowout unless the Bombers can hold firm here and find something. Masidi to Hardwick. Fraser on the ground.
Hardwick slung without the footy, Bruce, as he disposed of the ball and slung, so the free kick will be paid where the ball landed.
Thanks for that, John. So
ball comes out and then he's slung to the ground now, and that free kick paid downfield because it was after disposal.
Fraser, Rioli did brilliantly. Normally kicks these, it mightn't be their night. You get the feeling when Rioli, who we've seen to be so brilliant in recent weeks, goes strolling in and misses the lot, you've got a feeling that they're in for a long night.
It was beautiful to watch the way that he rode the ball off the pack. There's nothing better than seeing someone take it cleanly off a pack when they're running at full pace. and on most occasions he would finish, but that greasy ball is playing tricks.
I saw Darcy on the interchange. Dent probably trying to concede here. Long trying to keep it back in. Garlick runs it through, and it's a behind. So a lot of rush behinds for the Bombers tonight. They started with 3 early. They've had 5, and it's 27-39. So it's a 2-goal game. There's Darcy. Saw him cop a really hard one from Fletcher at the start of the game, and you just wonder whether Fletcher might have injured himself there because he hit him with his legs going in. And it's 27-39.
Bombers not really getting enough from their forward efforts in the first quarter. They got 3 goals out of 10 scoring attempts. Curley accepts the kick in. Bulldogs 39, lead Essendon 27. Short kick has been marked by Plunkett. Plunkett not quite up to the wing. There's a player on his own. Dimatina. He did this all day last week against Fremantle. Beautiful pass onto the chest of Chris Grant.
Well, Robbo, don't you just wonder how players can get 30 or 40 yards clear all on their own? I mean, everyone's accountable for a player out there. I would be absolutely horrified if I looked up and saw my man standing in territory like that. And beautiful disposal when he played on to find Grant.
2 goals already to Chris Grant, but this kick drops short. Rowan Smith! He judged that beautifully. I don't know whether that's a set play, Jason. No, that kick just holding up.
That's a set play. All teams do that. If you're out of range, the last thing the coach wants is a ball that's going to land 1 or 2 metres from the goal because it's easy to punch through or rush through. So all they try and do is chip it to the top of the 10-yard square or about 15 metres out directly in front, and the players start back, time their run, and they...
If you're a Bomber supporter right now, because it's just... You look around the ground and you wonder where it's going to come from now. West, Robbins. Ooh. Hooks very wide. Montgomery. Still Montgomery. He's got a bit of time. Handball over the top. Brown. Kick into the centre. Wine gets back. Got it. There's space for the Bulldogs. To Garlick. Gets some room. Now delivers out to... in fact, brings it back to centre half for Grant and Wellman. 2 All-Australians last year. Winmar clever. Powell, well done, little kick, and the mark taken by Barry Young on his hands and knees.
Gully's done a great job on long so far, Bruce.
No question about that. As Young out wide, fly came from the back, handball by Johnson to the line, boundary throw in. Bulldogs saying it was deliberate.
Well, the umpire really wasn't in a position where he could have adjudicated on that anyway, Bruce. He was looking at a sea of backsides, so certainly we've got a much better view of it from camera there. The umpire actually behind that contest and really wouldn't have seen it.
I think Michael Johnson was a bit lucky he wasn't penalised.
Oh, very lucky.
Robbins is downed. Barry Young with Stephen Powell having a to-do. Now, what's the umpire? He hasn't found a free kick. He's going to bounce it, but having a bit of a chat to a few of the boys, just hustling and bustling off the football. Robbins and Buick matching up. Pretty ordinary bounce, but gathered here by Young. Out wide to Buick. Left foot kick by Darren Buick. Not bad. Johnson right on the line, was he? No, he was over. So the free kick will go to the Bulldogs to be taken back there by Scotty West. Just a little quiet by his standards so far in this match. Just 7 possessions to West. Knocked away by the Bomber defence. Blumfield to Masidi. Masidi, a good long kick, but no one back there for Essendon. Crediuk under a bit of pressure, lost the football really. Little kick off the ground. Alessio, well done. Oh, great thinking, Alessio. Goal to the Bombers.
Gee, that is great skill for a big man to be able to do that. I mean, it just shows the value of Steve Alessio to Essendon. If he's not rucking, he can go forward and kick goals. It wasn't great play from Steve Crediuk. He had his hands on the ball 3 or 4 times. He just couldn't pick it up cleanly. Good play by Dean Wallace. He just towed it forward, kept it going in the right direction. Steve Alessio realised he wasn't going to be able to pick it up cleanly and have an easy shot for goal. He threw the left boot at it, and didn't he do it well?
They missed some easy ones, but that was a beauty, wasn't it? I tell you what, they needed it, and the match needed it.
Yep.
Now the Bombers might be able to get back on track. They must have been feeling a bit out of it there for a while. There was a stage where I think they found it hard to know exactly who they were playing on. Maybe that freakish goal can turn this match around a bit. Johnson, Buick to Barnard. Advantage is given. Barnard to centre half forward to Rioli. It's a good kick and a good mark. This is better. Oh, well, what's happening there, Winmar?
Well, Rioli actually went to play on, and Winmar came in to approach him.
Kicked the ball forward. Alessio with a height advantage. He brought Southern down. Southern a bit unlucky. Dimartina. Well done. Curley got it to West. West got it to Powell. The footy's hot again now. Hardwick to Blumfield to Buick. Buick coming in, Winmar. Buick's kicked the centre half forward. Not a good one. Garlick's got it. Wide to a bit of space to Robbins. Alessio had to take the mark because the fleet-footed Robbins. Handball over the top. Missed Brown, getting back Powell. Now Powell goes back onto his right foot. Not a good handball. Rioli's got Southern. Southern had a second go. Rioli with Brown. Brown's got him. And suddenly this match is alive again. Real contest here.
Nathan Brown now picking up Mark Mercury. And also Somerville's on the ground, and Alessio gone into the ruck, and Somerville will play full forward.
Gee, there's some talls there for the Bulldogs, aren't there? Curley and Darcy, we know, on the bench, and coming onto the ground then for Curley was Craig Ellis.
And Riol, as you heard, boys, is in that huddle there, just calling out for the doctor. Looks like he's got a corky.
Obviously the match-up concerning Terry Wallace. We saw Peter Somerville on the ground for the Bombers in that forward pocket area. Barnard overruns it. West gets the hand pass away. Southern a good gather. Montgomery cleverly. West has got to get rid of it quickly. He backs himself and he's gone. Absolutely gone, Scotty West. And the ball is going to come back. Good effort by Steve Alessio there to keep his eye right on the hips of Scotty West to affect the tackle. Alessio's short pass is all right. Mercedes has the football. Bulldogs lead by 12 points. Mercedes forced to kick with the left. Does it effectively. Into the pocket area. Somerville got his hands on it. Couldn't take the mark. Johnson overruns it. In goes Crediuk. Look away hand pass was pretty clever in the finish. Dimartina to Plunkett was equally as exquisite, and Plunkett has the football. In towards the middle of the ground. Powell. He was confronted, but he took the mark. Got the hand pass away to Garlick. Garlick in the centre. Evades the opposition and then kicks in towards half forward. Rowan Smith and Michael Pryor. Pryor, the little hand pass away. Rowan Smith trying to keep his footing. Back there was Blumfield. Rowan Smith appealing for maybe a free kick for being held, but he didn't have the football.
No, actually appealing for deliberate out of bounds, Robbo. And, 10 metres away from the boundary line, defender chooses to put the ball straight over the line, and that's what he was squealing about for sure.
Didn't have too many options.
So Barnard comes away with the football to Heffernan. In towards the centre of the ground. Mercedes had a fair bit of the football. 13th possession to Smoking Joe. He's kicked the goal for the Bombers. Southern desperate. Long to Rioli. Rioli, snapshot at goal. Goes all the way to the Alessio Ellis confrontation. And in the finish, playing the percentages, was Matthew Dent. And he forces a rush behind for
Rioli's
the Bombers.
Coming off,
they're sixth.
Rioli's coming off. He's in between coming off and staying on the ground then, and obviously nearly kicked the goal, and Martin McVeigh will take his spot. It looks like he's hurt too pretty badly, so the bench is down now to 1 for Essendon.
Croft on for Powell. So the Bombers, they're running out. Hopefully Rioli will be able to come back. Montgomery's got it. 4-10 to 7-3. Lopsided scoreboard. Johnson between half-back and centre wing. He was brought down as he kicked. It's a great kick. Up towards Brown. With him Johnson. A couple of the young guns in the cop. Brown's handball. Good play by Johnson. Mercedes, poor handball. Mercury under the gun. He was clever enough to get it back to Young. Barry Young's little kick. There's a good patch for the Bombers. Long's got it. He's got Mercury running. Now he's 50 metres out.
Oh,
Mercury's kick's a beauty to Caracella. Caracella walks in and goals. They're back. Kick 2. They set that up magnificently. They've shown a lot of spirit, this team, in the last 5 minutes.
And that goal really came out of nothing. Michael Long got the quick handball over the top to Mark Mercury. And Blake Caracella, he led very early from centre-half forward, streamed all the way in towards the goal. There's that handball from Long over to Mercury. Now, he could have blazed away, but he looked up. He saw Caracella making great space and kicked the simplest of goals. And this is a real ball game now.
Back just in time to see Blake Caracella get the 5th goal on the scoreboard for Essendon, and Rioli having his left ankle being attended to. Didn't look too drastic there. The tackle affected by Nathan Brown. But the medical staff for the Bombers, they'll be at work feverishly on the ankle there of Dean Rioli. Head pass from Brown. Releases Montgomery. Little left foot kick. Grant and Wellman. Barnard there. Winmar over the top. Umpire calls play on. Montgomery again. Grant. Johnson. Snapshot by Brad Johnson. Across the face. In underneath. This is Buick. Watches it closely. Then looks to run away. The little left foot kick is all right. Johnson for Essendon. Number 28 for Essendon is Mark Johnson. Number 6 for the Bulldogs is Brad Johnson. The kick towards half forward for Essendon. Carousella left it behind. Kick forward by Young. Marking contest at the back. Crediuk over the top of Long and Garlick. And Crediuk to steady for the Bulldogs. 6 minutes left in the first half. And that is what Steve Crediuk has down the field. Still in his defensive 50. Bulldogs lead by 5. They led by 18 just a couple of moments ago. 2 unanswered goals for Essendon has made this less than a 1-goal game. Ellis swings around onto his right. Kicks the ball in towards half forward. Grant flies high. Couldn't take the mark. At the back, Blumfield. Taken down by Johnson. Little kick by Johnson. Plunkett goes after the ball with Hardwick. Hardwick gathers. Hand passes wide to Buick. Buick's little left foot kick to a one-on-one, the 228s, Johnson and Dimatina, and the ball spills for a boundary throw-in.
Good play, Mark Johnson. Just that little toe poke. He had lovely orientation there. Buick doing some good things back at half-back at the moment. Somerville wins the tap. Johnson to Buick, to Mercedes, gets back to Johnson. Really like this kid. Johnson belts at the half-forward. Millier marked, yes, paid to McVeigh. Well, he might have been fortunate. Push, was it?
Paid for holding the man.
Solomon.
Solomon's on. McVeigh lines up. Solomon coming in from the side. Didn't take the mark. Croft runs it over. How many's that, Robbo?
7.
7 rush behinds for the Bombers. 41 plays 45. There's a Fletcher. We know Rioli's there. We know that Lloyd's down in the rooms. Robbins gets it short and then goes short again to Johnson, who looks a bit freer at half-back. Kicks to centre wing. Darcy a target. It was a terrific defence by the Bombers. Wallace, one of 4 players out there playing his 99th match tonight. You'll want to forget that one. Out of bounds on the full.
Yes, we've seen some very clever little kicks with the opposite foot from all players on the ground, but that not quite up to the standard that Dean Wallace was looking for. Bulldogs transfer play to the members' side. Dead has the ball, looking to get back onto his right, then kicks into the middle of the ground. Oh, top effort by Brown. Dispossessed unfairly. John
knocked in the head, Robbo. Clearly hit high and deservedly receives the free kick. Over the footy, Clunk.
Out wide to Robbins. Robbins kicks the ball to half forward. Big fly from Barnard. Gathered by Croft. Tried to fend off the tackler. Ball spills out wide for Mercedes. Rowan Smith to confront the Essendon midfielder. Rowan Smith goes after Michael Pryor, and I don't think he disguised that too well, Michael Pryor. And Rowan Smith's onto this.
And that's the difference, Robbo. The umpire in a perfect position, side onto this. So we're seeing very nearly the same view. And you can see the umpire's feet in the background and penalised.
So Rowan Smith takes the free kick. He's too far out to score, one would think. So he's going to kick it into the area guarded by Mark Mercury. And he gets back to help out the defence. Marks between fullback and centre halfback. Now being called to play on. Goes into the centre of the ground. Not a bad kick either. Blumfield has taken the mark away from Johnson. 45 plays 41. Bulldogs lead by 4. 3 minutes left in the half.
Cut off by Robbins. He was looking for Young. So the Bulldogs can go back. Robbins hard and high. Is it down the ground? Chris Grant got it. Big one.
Robbins has been pretty good, Bruce.
He's been
10
very
possessions. Hard-working midfielder.
He's been particularly good doing jobs down back, and then he drove it long. Chris Grant found himself all on his own. Maybe a contender for the Cadbury Mark of the Year. Took a nice little ride there and put the knee on the shoulder, and who knows?
Got the chocolates. 35 metres out. It's kick 2. And this is his range. He really should goal here, and the Bulldogs need it. 7 through to 5-11. That's from the far end of the ground. Having a look at his angle. Chris Grant measures it, It's close. It's very close. He might have missed. He has. Only once this season has he managed 3 goals. And he's on 2-2 tonight. That was really, give me 5-11 to 7-4. So Mercury missed an easy one at the end of the first quarter, and Grant misses one that was even closer and probably a touch easier in the second term. Pryor goes long and hard. Wellman, Grant's playing a bit of a match though to Powell. Buick comes in, he's outnumbered. Buick, little give by Smith. Powell squeezes, and it's going to be out of play. Left forward pocket. 5-11 plays 7-4.
We believe Stephen Powell did have a spell on the bench, and Leon Cameron was on the ground for a short time, but Powell back into the fray very quickly. Just missed his opportunity to grab the ball at the first instance, and then his snapshot not registering the score. He's back into the action again. Hand pass, Mercedes. He's gang tackled by Montgomery, and it's high, is it, John?
Well, it's been paid as high. I certainly didn't see high contact from here, but the signal given by the umpire was clearly for a high tackle.
Mercedes, short kick is all right. Still inside their defensive 50, though, the Bombers. Solomon, possession number 13, out wide. McVeigh and Curley. Long, still Curley, now McVeigh. Left foot kick, good, very good. Johnson on the end of it, swings around onto his right, just crashes past the tackler and then kicks towards full forward, and that should be nearly a free kick, but Caracella goes on with it. Left foot snap by Caracella across the face. It's registered a score. It is a behind to Essendon, kicked by Blake Caracella.
I think you're right, Robbo. It looked as though Blumfield's jumper was grabbed in that marking contest, and that would normally be paid as a free kick.
Short kick to the members' side, and the mark is taken here for the Bulldogs by Ellis. Bulldogs lead by 4 points. We've got a minute and a half left in the first half. It hasn't been a high-scoring game at all. 7 goals to the Bulldogs, 5 goals, 12 to the Bombers. They kicked 3-7 in the first term. Essendon punched away, gathered by Powell, quickly onto his left foot, kicks in the area of Wellman and Grant, knocked away. Hardwick very clever to Johnson. Little kick by Johnson, beautifully weighted, sets it up for Young, able to run in front of himself now, and then kicks with the left, all the way to the goal square. Caracella pushed off the footy. And that's a free kick, is it?
Yes.
What did you think, John?
Clearly pushed in the front in that marking contest, and if we just repeat the instruction given to the umpires, firm contact from the front. We see him pushed out there by Dent. Dent obviously not intent on going for the footy. We see it again in replay. Dent just pushing him out of the way from the front.
Very indiscriminate from Dent. I mean, he didn't have his eyes on the footy, and he just pushed him out of the contest. I mean, you have to expect a free kick from that.
Been a good goal kicker for the Bombers, Blake Caracella. He's going for his third just before half-time, and he's kicked it, so the Bombers lead.
Well, they've been 2 very different quarters to date. The Bombers had all the play early on and only had a very marginal lead at quarter time. The Bulldogs have had all the play in this quarter, but the Bombers have come home late with the last 3 goals, I think, and they're starting to look very good. Look, that's just taking a bloke out of the contest when you weren't involved in any part of the play at all. If you crook on that decision, well, then you better go read the rule book, I think. Yeah,
you're right, Jace. I mean, clearly contact from the boys.
Who's down there? Who's on his own down there, Diver? Heffernan gets a handball out.
Heffernan it is. Mark Fraser, sorry, boys.
Mark Fraser. Caracella back to Wallace. Wallace back to Heffernan. They might get another one. The kick towards the pocket. Ellis going hard at it. Then, terrific tackle by Long. Well, was it high, was it?
Called as high, Bruce.
Gee, it was a good effort to hold him up.
It was all right early, but I think the tackle slipped over his neck.
I think Longy actually jumped. And,
fair enough.
Yeah, it looks the back of the jumper, but deemed high.
Ellis to Dimatina wide, Martin getting a run, Blumfield boundary throw in. Well, if somebody was going to tell you 15 minutes ago the Bombers would be in front at half-time, you'd take their money, wouldn't you?
You certainly would have.
They looked there for the taking. It looked as if the Bulldogs could really put a space in them before they settled themselves down with all their injury problems, but they will be in front at the long break. Powell to Plunkett. Well, I reckon Sheeds will be pleased. I thought Terry would be pleased at half-quarter time. Robert Shaw there. There's Mark Fraser, the lone man on the bench. Well, you know you're going to get a run at some stage. Look at Sheedy getting down just to tell them all about it. A lot of character in that first half from both teams, by the way. Bulldogs were terrific. There's Fletcher. Well, that's a bit of a sorry side as well. But, well, the Bombers, who have led now at half-time in 10 out of their 13 matches, they are a very good, fast-starting team.
The other behind that he kicked wasn't all that difficult either, Bruce.
Well, it's set up perfectly now, isn't it? One team, 6 goals, 12-7-4. Let's see who can make the early running. Dimartina's had a good half a footy so far. Kicks to the hot spot at centre half forward. Solomon, Grant's tackle was good, I thought. Well, it looked all right to me, but I'm not an umpire.
Deemed to be high, Bruce, but I think you're right.
Solomon kicks the ball to Johnson. Good one. Johnson was very good, I felt, when he came on in the second quarter. Little chip. Somerville. He started on the interchange. Out wide to Young. Bit of space. Young goes on. Neat little kick to the pocket. Can't quite take them up. Well done there by Brown, getting rid of Mercury. Handball over to Wine. Wine holds it up. Back to Brown. He's under the pump. McVeigh, acrobatic, but not effective in the end. The kick out wide. Finds Dent. Dent inside. They haven't been able to find much space, the Bulldogs. Johnson's kick to centre wing. Grant, Wellman sweating off on him. Good hands. Dimartina trying to get a free kick there. West running out of room. Boundary throw in. Bombers, I think, did pretty well to hold up the Bulldogs in that passage of play. It's 48-46. Who's on the bench for the Bombers, Dipper?
Fletcher, Mark Fraser, Dean Wallace, and of course Matthew Lloyd is not there. He's in hospital.
So they're down, they're right down, aren't they? The Essendon lineup, as far as fresh players are concerned. They've got two that we think will take no further part. Joe Mercedes' left foot kick towards half forward. Gee, a pack of players there really approached the ball with ferocity, and there's a free kick being found out of it to Mercury.
And unwarranted, I would suggest, Robbo.
Mercury's kick is very good. Rioli left it behind. Tackle on Southern, very good. Gathered here by Robbins. He's been impressive in this match. Left foot kick by Robbins out wide. Winmar got his player. Underneath the ball, that was Solomon. Onto his left. Winmar goes towards half forward. Smith from behind. Grant, push out. According to the umpire, free kick to Pryor. Careful.
Bit of aggression shown, but the umpire felt that he was pushed out in that marking contest, and Granty just disagreeing fairly enthusiastically.
Wellman, then Buick. Buick straightens up and kicks the ball to half forward. Good mark, Prediuk. 48 plays 46, same score as at half-time. Just a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes gone in the third term. Kick goes wide to Southern. Southern's got a player further afield. It's a good left foot kick. Gee, they should all be kicking with their unnatural foot at goal, and maybe would get a little bit more accuracy. They're very good with the opposite foot. Pryor, Powell, Hardwick. Quickly, Damien Hardwick high. Getting underneath it is Barnard. The brute. Wasn't he brutal there? Away to Heffernan. Heffernan's kick, good vision. Wide McVeigh, straightens up. Trusty left foot. Magnificent kick by McVeigh. It's the post.
No. Doggy's
free kick, is it?
Yeah, Doggy's free kick for a push out, so the free kick will be taken that very last line of defence.
No score.
He paid the push. It should have been holding, surely.
Yeah, he paid the push, exactly as you called it, JC. Signalled the push, but it was certainly holding.
Curley out wide, Brown at the back. Very clever player. Robbins had it, lost it again. Buick harassed very nicely. Heffernan's kick across his left shoulder is excellent. Coming out strongly from the last line of defence was Curley. Garlick swung as he got the hand pass away. Blundfield can't get his boot to the ball, but Rioli! No, it's touched on the line by the most unbelievable piece of desperation by Craig Ellis. And it's a rush behind of the Bombers.
Gee, Rioli looked odds on to get his boot to this after the ball started rolling freely towards goal. He's just had an air swing as well.
Gee,
Champion begging.
Stuff. Well, this second half has started like the first half did. The kick out wide, Robbins has got it. Buick in very late. Robbins has been terrific. Short to Brown. Brown still in the defensive 50, just pushes wide to Powell. Powell delivers a neat kick to Smith. There's a good build-up here by the Bombers. They've got it to centre wing. 7-4 to 6-13. Smith down the line, but Johnson's got it all right in front of Grant. So Rowan Smith just not able to quite get the distance he wanted.
Oh, he's played on with nowhere to go.
Then goes back and decides defensively to kick it as hard as he can, but it's not a good play by Johnson, and Robbins takes the mark between centre wing and half back. His ball is cut off. Buick held on to, no free kick. He can't believe it. Caracella's hip and shoulders of beauty. Goes back to Smoke and Joe. Mercedes kick to Long. Coming in Garlick was very good. Boundary throw-in.
Well, I think the umpire's the only one at the MCG who didn't see the holding free kick against Darren Buick.
Yeah,
have a look at him going off. He tapped the ball. Well, he probably acted and made it look worse than it was, but there's probably enough to warrant a free kick.
Wouldn't be the first time he's made it look worse than it really was either, Jace. I think it might have been a bit of a payback for the ones he's got on some occasions when he didn't deserve them. And you know,
who's on the bench for the Bulldogs, Dipper?
Michael Martin, Leon Cameron, Luke Darcy and Brent Montgomery.
Gee, Martin and Cameron will be pretty fresh. They haven't had much of it. Wind. Alessio got over him that time. Garlick towards the line. Another boundary throw-in. Now, boundary throw-in about 45 metres from goal.
Gee, they're popular, those fellows in white, aren't they?
The Bombers had 19 frees to 12 at half-time, but their fans are giving the umpires a bit after the Buick one. I guess if you're having them paid for 10 years, you wonder why they're not paid tonight. Ball comes back from Mercury to Buick. Buick hooks as close to the line. Dent McVeigh, or McVeigh got high. Took a beauty. A terrific mark. Flew high. It bounced off his chest. Second go and he's got it.
Gee, he must have a fantastic leap. He just backed off a couple of yards to give himself the chance to have a 1 or 2 step run up and jump. He just went straight up, kept his eye on it, took it the second attempt, but he's a very exciting young player.
Saw him in Adelaide, didn't we? And we really liked him when he finished off a couple in the pocket. Kick right to the square, and Crediok belts it out. That's the one that Jason talked about earlier tonight. You're probably better off to kick it 8 or 10 metres in front of goal than 2 metres. 9 rush behinds to the Bombers. It's a bit like that Sundries total in the World Cup, isn't it?
And it's mounting because it's the 9 rush behinds see the Bombers with the ascendancy at the moment. Just 4 points in front, 50 plays 46. 6 goals, 14, the Bombers.
Oh.
Southern.
Now you tell me that Darren Buick had his eye on the footy when he tried to spoil there.
And the thing the umpire would have been trying to determine was whether the contact from the front was firm. We see Darren Buick,
look at his eyes,
as Jason called it, just going straight at Danny Southern. Really
took the arms.
Yeah, took basically the hands of Danny Southern in that marking contest.
Good ruck work. Finds Johnson. Johnson's kick. Oh, nearly the mark to Alessio. So it was Somerville doing the ruck work. Kicked away by Crediuk. He's doing a pretty good job on the last line of defence for the Bulldogs. Powell tries to crash his way through. He got the advantage of the umpiring decision. Johnson to West. West with the left foot. Kicks towards full forward. No mark taken. Grant will mop this up, won't he? Gets the hand.
Smith, 6-14 to 8-4. The Bullies are back in front. Hope you're enjoying this wherever you're watching on the 7 network. Powell's been good to Garlick. Garlick goes hard to centre half forward. Oh, Wellman got a bad bounce. Grant's been effective. Martin's a goal kicker. Hooks it back. Which way will it bounce? It's bouncing through for a behind. 8-5 to 6-14.
As you mentioned, both those players, sorry Jason, both Leon Cameron and Michael Martin have just come on the ground.
Very well weighted handball from Chris Grant on that occasion to Martin too. It had to cover a bit of ground and he had to allow for Martin to run onto the ball and never had to miss a beat in his full stride.
Pryor goes hard and long. Somerville's his target. Wines in the box seat. It's a free kick though going against Robbins for shepherding, I think.
That's exactly right, Bruce. The signal given for shepherding.
So Somerville to Heffernan. Heffernan to Long. He's had a quiet one. Took the mark. Oh, clever. Rioli belts at the full forward. Bouncing ball. Ellis was wonderful. Terrific stuff. Fortune favours the brave. Kicks it out wide to Martin. Martin with some space. Can he do something? Delivers to centre half forward. Smith attacks hard. Didn't get a great bounce. Mopped up by Barry Young. Little one to Alessio. He's got a couple running, including 50 metres. No, including Carousel, a little one. Getting back was Brown. A hard ball to be won. Free kick to Mercury.
And clearly flattened, Bruce. I mean, Mark Mercury getting up very quickly now that he's heard the whistle, but from behind, Mark Mercury just flattened.
And Johnny, you talk about silly free kicks. Nathan Brown got his hand in to spoil it, and credit was given away what could be a goal when the contest had been spoiled. That is just very undisciplined play.
I suppose, to be fair to Stephen Crediuk, he probably didn't know that, that the mark was covered.
But even if he didn't, he was going to give away the free kick anyway, approaching it like that.
Let's see if he's still got the yips. Will he kick his first goal since round 7? He will. He's done it. They're back in front. I tell you what, Robbo, I reckon we're going to be horse
been terrific, hasn't it? Goal for goal. Not big scores, only 15 goals kicked in the match, but they've had a real good go at each other physically and as far as just general play, Jason.
They have, and I'll tell you what, it's very important. I mean, obviously it probably shouldn't have been a goal to the Bombers if Steve Crediuk hadn't have caused that indiscretion, but it's important that he did kick it because they have had the play. This 10 minutes of the third quarter, they've had a lot of the play. And the Bulldogs kicked a goal a couple of minutes ago against the run of play. They need to capitalise while they have got the play, the Bombers.
We saw there that Johnson may be off the ground and Plunkett on for the Bulldogs. Garlick, geez, well tackled, isn't he? He's not a big player, Garlick, but it looked like it might have been Alessio that affected the tackle. No, it was Peter Somerville. He did very well to hold up the smaller player there without giving away a free kick.
Yeah, Johnson just struggled with that corky, as we mentioned before half-time, and they're just trying to keep him warm on the boundary line here. They might get him to come back on the ground later.
Well, he might struggle, Dick, mightn't he, if he's trying to loosen up a cork thigh. He had something like 14 possessions in the first half. Long, a right foot kick towards full forward. Alessio gives away the free kick, does he?
Yes.
And it will go to Ellis.
And I suppose, yeah, free kick paid for holding, Robbo, as you called it.
Ellis to Garlick. Garlick, no one really to kick to. He's got to go into the middle of the ground. It was a good kick, wasn't it? He pinpointed Croft from about 40 metres, put it on his chest at the angle. Croft, still in his defensive half of the ground, now gets close to the man on the mark. You would have thought maybe Barnard encroached there. The kick is well marked by Grant. Gets the hand pass away to Plunkett. Plunkett into the pocket. Good. Leon Cameron has marked within scoring distance.
Which foot will he kick it with, Robbo?
I would say he'll kick it with his right. He's a natural right foot kick.
He is, but he's so good on his left, and from the angle he's coming at, it would favour a left foot kick, wouldn't it?
It certainly would, and well, he's just an accomplished AFL player, Leon Cameron. He's played a lot of football now for the Bulldogs. He came from Warrnambool at the same time that Chris Grant joined the Bulldogs from Dalesford. Alessio coming off the ground with a hand injury. Cameron shot at goal. By gee, that's close, isn't it? Umpire will signal a behind, but it was very close, that kick coming in from Leon Cameron.
Which means, Robert, that Wallace has gone back onto Ellis. And Ellis and Wallace...
And they're at it again.
So, 7-14 to 8-6. It's a pretty good kick off the boot by Cameron. Gee, the Bulldogs set that up well, didn't they? Down the ground of Cameron.
They're very good at their set plays coming out of defence, the Bulldogs.
Fry it to himself, and then goes as far as he can, trying to get it out of the danger zone. Wellman got it in the end. I thought there might have been a push out from the Bombers on the Bullies. The kick to centre wing. Rioli missed it. Divatina was terrific. Rode the bump. Belts the ball back wide. Not a good kick.
He's got to be guilty a little bit, Paul Divatina, of just bombing away, Jason. He keeps his head down when he kicks the ball instead of having the presence to look down the field maybe a little bit better.
Yeah, it's difficult in occasions when you don't have the time to sum up your best option, but you need to be a little bit more composed than just kicking it as hard and high as you do.
Hardwick to centre wing. A couple of big flies, and Brown's got it. Gee, there were 2 or 3 hands up there, and his was a good mark. A real arm wrestle now, this match. Kicks the ball to centre half or Grant, the target's had a wonderful match. Heffernan reading it. Garlick held up, handball back to space. Dimatina ran very hard, had to belt the ball quickly. Front spot, Barnard waited for it. Could have been dangerous, but Cameron came in late. Wellman's got it. He's normally a good kick down the line, but the Bulldogs have got the numbers here. Powell back turn in trouble. Handball. Grant in hard. Mercury was outstanding there. He's caught up now. He has to get rid of it. He hasn't quite. He's in trouble. He's in trouble. It'll be a ball up.
Yeah, the reason I think he got the benefit of the doubt then, Bruce, was that he didn't elect to dive on the ball or elect to drag it in. It just sort of ended up underneath him rather than him choosing to be on top of it.
Someone's injured too at centre wing for the Bombers.
Buick does it?
Yep.
Somerville doing the ruck work and doing it effectively. Grant, West, Dimatina, Mercedes, the hot man in the situation. By gee, his mate there, Mark Mercury, got into the action and effected a very good tackle to lock the Bullies up around the middle of the ground between wing and the centre of the MCG. Darren Buick.
He's in
trouble.
trouble
For the stretch, I think, boys.
He is out to it, I think.
A bit of concussion.
He doesn't know what day it is. Just a clash with Matthew Croft when he came across. Oh, the hit to the head, and night for Darren Buick.
Oh, good play, Barry Young. Releases Johnson. Johnson into the pocket. Out in front of McVeigh. His fellow number 10, Montgomery. That's got to be penalised too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly did look as though it was deliberate, but the umpire, again, not in a position to adjudicate behind the contest, would not have had any idea how that ball ended up over the boundary line from where he was.
We'll see a replay, John.
Yeah, he's actually left of screen, so would not have seen that, and that's why they've just got to work hard to get side on.
Bulldogs a chance to get clear of their full-back line. Ellis does well. Got the hand pass. I think he was looking for Curley there. Now it's back to Long. Snapshot at goal. Well done back there by McVeigh. At least he forced a score for the Bombers and put a bit of pressure on the Bulldogs defender who was going to take the mark on his chest.
We see Buick there. Dipper, what's Alessio? How many are they down to, the Bombers?
Well, Alessio just came off with dislocated fingers. He's having his fingers iced at the moment, so he can come back on.
Is he the only one that can come back on at the moment?
Yes, well, Mark Fraser's on now, so you've got Buick who's concussed and Fletcher who can't come back on, of course, and Lloyd's is not there.
Okay, so Wine's off. So the Bombers at the moment are about maximum, aren't they? They've got the 18 blokes that can play out there, and still they lead by 3 points.
Powell accepts the kick in and then goes out very wide. He presents himself, doesn't he? Chris Grant releases Dimatina, takes a decent distance, running with the football. The kick hacked out of there by Barnard, gathered by Robbins, skillfully done, beautifully done. Gets Croft a chance. Croft snapshot for goal over his left shoulder. He's hooked the ball too far.
Gee, that deserved a goal. Matthew Robbins, he just attacked it. He really took the bit between the teeth. He charged in amongst 3 or 4 Essendon players, shot out a terrific handball, and a little unlucky that they didn't finish with a goal.
Saw Buick, gee, he's doing it hard, 7-15 to 8-7. So they've been a bit inaccurate, actually, the Bulldogs in this quarter, 1-3. They've had some chances prior, very short to Heffernan. Heffernan's young legs will be important in the last term. He's a very economical player, this fellow. Never seems to be rushed. That's a terrible kick. That is a terrible kick. Darcy's got it. Couple of kicks from goal. Goes in short to Garlick. Garlick to Powell on his natural left. Powell loads up, goes to fall forward, and coming in was from the side Martin. Ball still to be won. Goes through Heffernan. Grant fell on top of it. They go on top of him. Free kick.
Yeah, just indiscriminate then.
Centre here. I'm trying to rewrite the rule book. It's 7-15 to 9-7.
Well, for the first time since probably halfway through the second term, the Bulldogs are back in front. They led by 18 points at that stage. The Bombers have certainly come at them, and against the odds, the Bombers have come at the Bullies.
Put it on the deck.
Putting the ball on the ground was Blake Carosella, and the free kick will go back to Todd Curley.
I just want to revisit the Grant one. We see him actually put the ball on the ground, so that's incorrect disposal. And hopefully we can revisit Chris Grant's in a moment. Brown kicks the ball wide, does it very well. Gee, it was a good kick. It had to be absolutely perfect because Montgomery was surrounded by 2 or 3 Essendon players, and he's taken the mark right on centre wing. Montgomery, not big stats for him, but I think from a fitness point of view, the Bulldogs certainly have the advantage. They've got 18 out there, and then 4 players on the interchange bench that all look apart, while Johnson looks in a little bit of strife. Another Bomber player down at half-back. Bullies get back with numbers. Brown to Crediuk, out wide, finds Montgomery. The run in the legs of the Bulldog. Curley towards half-forward. Martin couldn't take the mark. Alessio trying to lead from the front. Bangs it towards half-forward. Goes past Southern and Rioli. Gathered by Mercuri to Carosella. Vision, the kick a little too high there for Smokin. And Joe Massini was outnumbered, wasn't he? West was there, but Robbins to chip in. Kicks it down towards half-forward. Wellman, well done. Went after the football with determination. Might get a second chance. No, Chris Grant. Magnificent footy by the Bulldog leader at half-forward. Free kick to Long. Gee, the turnover might be important here. Essendon can go forward through Johnson. Johnson's kick to half-forward. Crediuk, a big punch from behind. He's a percentage defender, Stephen Crediuk, and he forces a boundary throw in. Robbo, and if I can just put another feather in the cap of the best sports caller in the Lens, in the Land's Hat. We see, this is the one Bruce mentioned now. Bruce, in a sense, is right. If Grant is causing or contributing to that illegal contact, he is not to be rewarded. Now, some will say that Solomon had no option. Others will say that that he did. Now, that's just the way the game is played.
McVeigh, gee, this is a great game of footy. Look, just go back to it for one moment. I think in principle I can't see the difference between what Chris Grant did and somebody ducking their head.
Yeah,
that is the bottom line as far as I'm concerned on that. Great play by Grant, courageous, all of that. But poor Solomon, I mean, what choice?
Well, you are dead right, Bruce, but some will say that Grant caused it, others will say he didn't. But you are right.
Crediuk, Blumfield, this is a contest. Blumfield, magnificent start, stirring. You would pay a lot of money to go and see footy like that.
Well, just what the game needed, just what the Bombers needed. Justin Blumfield, very, very good. Steve Crediuk, he's tried hard tonight, but he's been a little bit out of sorts. He hasn't played a lot of footy. He's had a lot of problems with injury. He had the ball in front of him, and he even had assistance coming in from the side with Ellis, but somehow Blumfield reached him with a hand, dragged it back, and ran into an open goal.
Justin Blumfield, the goal kicker for Essendon, gives the Bombers the lead once again by 2 points. Somerville, Heffernan, grabbed by Martin.
Too long.
Oh, did he have that too long, John?
Well, he was tackled, he was spun around a considerable amount of time, and the umpire considered that is too long. He's looking for an option, no option. By that stage, the umpire's blowing the whistle.
Martin's kick to half forward. Johnson. Rowan Smith, by gee, backed himself, didn't he? Well done.
Nice.
Composure for a young player. Very good too to Heffernan. Bombers attacking again in the second half here of the third quarter. Top mark taken by Craig Ellis across half-back for the Bullies. 63 plays 61, and Craig Ellis, that certainly was a Cadbury mark of the day contender. Goes across the half-back line. Crediuk away from Dean Wallace. Just puts himself in a position where he's got to squeeze a kick out that lands in the middle of the ground. Wellman to mop it up. Wellman, good vision. Long, exciting Michael Long. 150 gamer tonight. Kick towards full for Darcy. At the second grab has marked between fullback and centre halfback. Luke Darcy spent a bit of time on the bench, just fifth possession. Martin out wide. Harassing work. That's a free kick against Essendon, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Martin was certainly dragged to the ground, but tackle laid from behind Martin. So we see ball going towards the boundary line here, and Martin was actually grabbed and dragged to the ground. No chance of getting near the footy, but not seen by the umpire.
Umpire was quite adjacent to that incident too, but decided not to blow his whistle. Mercury. Mark Mercury gets terrific distance with the kick. Easily covered the line, but hooked it a little bit too far. 1-3 against the name of Mark Mercury.
Luke Darcy's trying to come off, but there's no one there to come on. Wind has to come back from warming up on the sideline.
Goes in short. This game's had everything, hasn't it? Brown at centre half-back. Just waiting. Doesn't want to cough it up. Needs to deliver. And goes out wide and finds some space to Crediuk at half-back. So Scotty Wine now back on the ground, their captain. The one-on-one duels have been terrific in this match. Crediuk's kick to centre wing. This has been one of the big ones. Grant versus Wellman. Grant has won the duel, but Wellman will keep going. Good smother there from Dimatina. Boundary throw in. McVeigh off and Somerville back on. So they're going for a bit of height forward with Alessio Somerville. 4 times the lead's changed hands in this quarter alone. Dimatina crashing through. Ball still hard there and a ball up. John, I can't remember using you so often on a Friday night. It must say something, A, about the game and perhaps about the confusion of some of the decisions.
Yeah, well, that's right, Bruce, but I must admit, again, I say that I agree with your comment in relation to the Chris Grant free kick, because the umpires have to determine whether he caused it or contributed to it. You didn't think he did. The umpire didn't think he did. It's a great game, isn't it?
Hardwick's little kick. Robbins was good. Gee, he's played a game. Left foot, hooks it back to half forward. Grant versus Wellman. The contest towards the line, Masiti and also West, and a boundary throw-in. Well, it was 5 points at quarter time, it was 2 points at half time, and at the moment she's down to 3 points and we've got a couple of minutes remaining. We've seen late goals in both quarters. One here would be important.
Essendon leading by 3 points. Alessio up in the ruck, up against Scotty Wine. The ball spills for Young. His hand pass, chopped off by Grant. Good harassing work by Heffernan. Martin kept it in too. Johnson back on the ground. Squeezes a kick into the pocket. Rowan Smith and Michael Pryor will be thrown in that area.
The Dogs are just having trouble getting past that centre half forward area. There's lack of forward power at the moment. At this stage, you just feel that Essendon got more chance of kicking more goals.
Well, we just watched there Michael Martin keeping the ball in. Well, the boundary umpire was beautifully there. Oh, Barry Young. Whoa!
He thought twice, didn't he?
So I think he might have had a visit at the Monday night, Barry, and it wouldn't have been Windy Hill either. Stephen Powell trying to put some pressure on. Keep the ball in. Mark Fraser. Solomon now. Chance for Heffernan. Tackled by West, but he shrugged it well and then got the kick away. Lands the ball close at half forward. Wallace and Crediuk. Crediuk gathers. Then forced to squeeze a kick once again over his left shoulder into the middle, where the mark is quite straightforwardly taken by Young.
Handball to Pryor. Pryor to Hardwick. This defence is holding firm. Kicks to Long, starting to get a bit of it. Holds it up for a moment. He won't want to waste it. Goes long to about 50 metres. Curley was good, belted away. Mercury chasing hard, chasing him as Ellis. It's almost on the line. Ellis harassing, and then he taps it over the line, and he's penalised. Well, he's stiff, but it was there, I guess. Mercury's quick kick finds Somerville about 70 metres from goal. Couple of players calling for him now. You can see the time clock. Somerville's lazy old kick to the pocket. Heffernan's had a reasonable quarter. Not good play, though. Thought Somerville's kick was ordinary. Crediuk's kick not so good either. Pryor had a fair bit of a play on call. Robbins gets it from Grant to West. The crowd roar. Well done, Wellman, because they were through. On the up to Barry Young. Young hooks it back. He wants Solomon. Martin caught out of position. The ball comes to ground. Well done by Martin. Bombers have got numbers, but now the Bullies might have the numbers. A terrific contest. Hands and knees. Plunk it off the ground. And I think we're going to get it almost out of play. Solomon, it's still in play. Solomon, Martin, now Fraser. Little one to Blomfield. Blomfield along the line. Frantic, hectic, tiring stuff. Almost at three-quarter time.
Gee, it took a long time to go out, but just an interesting piece of play over the other side of the ground. When Ellis got pinged, Mercury got to the ball first, but he just said, I can't do anything with it here, so I'll wait till the Bulldog player comes in, and then he got pinged for hitting it out of bounds.
Johnson's high ball, not going far. Almost to centre wing. That's it. Another great quarter of footy. A lot of feeling here. There was before the start. It continues to go on.
It's not like Barry to be involved.
A lot of players here that won't take a back step. We know that. Gee, Somerville and Wind off the ball. Still going on.
Well, they're fighting a losing battle, but you really have to try to get the players apart here, because
that's what Michael Long's doing at the moment too, John.
And that's great that Longy's trying to do that, because the umpires are almost toothless tigers. They can scream all they like and suggest the players should move apart, but they're not all that keen to move apart at the moment.
David Howlett telling Scotty Wine a thing or two, which was interesting. Normally we had the captain going up to the umpire at three-quarter time. Now we had the umpire going up to the captain. Well, this game, now we're all right. We're sweet. We've kissed. We've made up. Gee, could you have set this game up any better than this? This is a really big game. It was a huge build-up all week. Kevin Sheedy ignited it a bit during the week. And boy, it has not let anyone down. Dick Buick. Final quarter. Friday night football at the G. The stands are rocking here. Wine, little handball out to West. Masidi cut it off. He's high ball to half forward, running hard Rioli. Good take. Rioli turns and spins and then delivers towards Carosella, pushed out of it by Curley. And it's a free kick to Carosella.
Tell you what.
Signal given for the sling prior to that marking contest, and as you called it, Bruce, Carosella will take the free kick. That's the free kick paid against Todd Curley, and signal demonstrated by the umpire was that Carosella was dumped prior to the ball arriving. So we've just seen it on replay.
Well, this is a very big kick. He kicked 6 against Adelaide in round 10, 3 against the Cats in round 11. He has 3 so far tonight. This to give the Bombers a little break in a tight, low-scoring match, to give them the momentum at the start of the final quarter. He's careful, he's pushed it, he's missed it. 3-2 to Carosella, 8-17. Admittedly, 9 of them, or 10 of them have been rushed, 9 of them have been rushed. What's left of that Bomber bench, Tipper?
Well, Mark McVeigh is virtually the only player who can come back on. Of course, you've got Buick, Lloyd and Fletcher there.
Robbins in the back pocket. Gee, I'm glad it's Jason doing the votes tonight. It is tough, isn't it? I mean, there's so much. It's an even spread right around, but this bloke's been very good.
He has.
Robbins directs the kick in the area of Wine. That hand pass, Johnson in trouble. The Bulldogs going very hard at the football. Garlick to Robbins. Robbins across the half-back line. Martin has taken the mark. Johnson, that's Mark Johnson for Essendon. Quickly back onto his feet. Montgomery gets rid of his opponent. Trying to put some pressure on as Fraser. Tackle a little high by Fraser. The umpire gives that the all clear. Coming away with the football is Mark Fraser in the finish. Kicks it back into the centre of the ground. Punched away by Brown. Mercuri's recovery pretty good. Intercepted by West. Gets the ball to Johnson. He's done a grand job. Brad Johnson, we thought he was injured early in the game, and he's just stuck it out. He's had 15 and 4, and that kick has been wide, marked by Ellis. Ellis to half forward. Grant provides the pressure. Barnard to feed off. Heffernan, he's got the ball. Plunkett the tackler. Well done there by young Plunkett.
Gee, Sean Wellman's in a bit of trouble behind play too after that marking contest.
Well, that's the reason that they're going to be in strife, isn't it? Because we believe they've only got one fit player, that's Mark McVeigh. Buick with concussion, and we see Wellman go down here. Now, what's he hurt?
Gee, it just looked like something gave
Just
way.
slipped, didn't he? The kick towards full forward. Smith and Pryor rushes are behind.
Rowan Smith not happy at all that he wasn't rewarded with a free kick for holding the man.
Now there's some fit blokes on the Bulldogs bench, Dipper.
Yeah, certainly is. A full bench here. Nicky Wimmer, Luke Darcy, Leon Cameron, Matthew Dent.
Gee, what would we done with no forward players on the interchange tonight? Kevin Chitty's been the man behind stretching it, hasn't he? And he's needed every play tonight. Wellman, he's proppy. He's in a bit of trouble.
Oh, who got slung down there?
To Wallace. They swallowed the whistle for the moment, the umpires, Carosella and Curley. The ball bouncing, Rioli, well done, terrific tackle by Montgomery.
Yeah, has to be.
Great decision.
Yeah, Dean Rioli took on the tacklers, broke through the first, got nailed by the second. Has to be a free kick for, well, we call it incorrect disposal, but it's actually not disposing of the footy.
Excellent decision, John.
Yep.
Martin's kicked the centre wing. Crediuk runs onto it. 8-17 plays, 9 goals, 8. The Bombers have won 4 straight. The Bulldogs haven't been beaten since round 6. They had a draw in that group of wins. They've had 5 wins and 1 draw in their last 6. The Hawks that draw a couple of weeks ago. We've had close games between these two teams in recent years. 11 points, 8, 22 and 3 the last 4 occasions. But it's been a while since the Bombers have won against the Bullies. Johnson, Garlick, little toe poke, Blumfield, but it was a bit dangerous. Quick kick away by Barnard. This is an important ball. This kick can really play. Johnson had a broken collarbone earlier in the year. Lovely stuff to Wellman, who finds Fraser, who can run. Little kick on to Mercedes. Could go all the way. Smoker Joe. 1 bounce. He's already kicked 1 goal. Lines it up. Hooks it badly. It's not a good result. It's a behind. It's 8-18 to 9 goals, 8. It's exciting stuff here tonight.
Joe Mercedes. 1 goal, 1 against his name. Todd Curley to kick it back for the Bulldogs. Essendon lead by 4 points. Early in the last quarter, Curley to himself, and then goes in towards centre half back. Good kick, Johnson. Hand pass to Powell. Powell looks up, kicks in the direction and does it well, doesn't he? Gave Grant the opportunity to run onto the football. His immediate opponent, Wellman, could do nothing about that. Short kick. Oh, fortuitous there for the Bulldogs. Wallace nearly right onto Martin, but Martin able to take the mark. He's 55 metres from goal. It'll take a big kick to score. Kicks it in towards full forward. Well done. Rowan Smith in front of Pryor.
Do you know what was so good about that kick? Michael Martin was sitting there looking at...
It was set up by the Bulldogs, wasn't it? And the Bombers couldn't get back there. It's a fair bit... A verbalisation going on. Free kick.
For a trick paid to Scotty Wine.
So 10-8 to 8 goals, 18. The Bullies back in front. Wind out wide. Danger. Johnson was in hard. The ball back to centre wing. Well done by Mercury to Johnson. He takes a bounce. Will he go for the handball? Running out of room in the end. Might get another go. The back turn to Wallace. The little one, Rioli's missed it. 8 goals, 19 to 10-8. Frantic stuff. Geez, a good kid. This kid, I know in the end he probably got too close. He is a very good footballer.
He's blessed with a lot of natural speed too.
Just gets too close, but then recovers. The back turn was wonderful to Wallace, and his give was good as well. And Rioli's missed it. He's had a night of misses, Rioli. Curley's kick, Wine the target. Somerville comes in. A bouncing ball, Powell. Wine belts it clear. Wallace's little gift now to Hardwick. Hardwick loads up. They haven't got anyone down there. Curley's, he made a mistake. Mate, it scores a level. Curley, it just slipped through.
You've got to give him the benefit of the doubt and perhaps think that he might have lost that in the light, because you surely wouldn't expect a player like that just to miss a simple chest mark.
How are those sundries going for the Bombers?
They're the top scorer anyway, Bruce. 11 now. It's a picket fence for rush behinds. But importantly for Essendon, that one has levelled the scores. You can see there, 14 minutes left in this game. 68 apiece. Oh, Curley's coughed it up. Heffernan has taken the mark. Well, I think he's played a very, very good game, this young fellow. And if he can just get some timing into this, he's had 18 possessions. It is possible for him to score, but he just drops it into the danger zone. And Mercury has marked the ball for Essendon, only a matter of 20 metres out, directly in front.
Well, we saw the Bulldogs do it earlier in the match when Chris Grant lobbed the ball into that spot for Rowan Smith to mark. And this time, well, when the big men fly, you don't expect Mark Mercury to be climbing over the top of them, but he certainly played tall then.
Going for his second goal, and the Bombers lead by 6. 2 goals, 3 against the name of Mark Mercury. Essendon 74 lead the Bulldogs 68.
Well, we said prior to the match it looked to be a pretty good match-up on paper, and they haven't disappointed us. What a match we've got here. Only one kick the difference at the moment. Mark Mercury, in a pack of about 8 or 10 players, taking a tremendous grab and finishing it off in great fashion.
Great stuff by Mercury. He's played a big match, Mercury. If he gets one more, then he could be a match winner. He's kicked 2 goals, 3.
Windmill on for the Doggies, gone to full forward.
9:20 to 10-8, thanks Dipper. Somerville and Wine. Wine later back for West. Wallace, well done to Long. Long goes to full forward. Kicks it very wide to Rioli. It's probably a bit too wide in the end. Rioli taps it back. Southern, it was out. Boundary throw in. Wallace has been pretty important in a couple of instances in this last quarter, getting the handball away. What a strange career he's had. 99 games he's played since 1987. He's got a premiership in there. It's the first time he's played a dozen games in the season since 1988. Goes back. Rioli off his feet. It's hard to keep your feet. Nasiti on the up. Johnson worried out of it in the end. Then goes to Brad Johnson. Kicks the ball to Grant. Wellman did very well. Sore foot and all. Worked his way to the front to take the mark. He is a bit proppy. Little one inside to Somerville. Important that they don't turn it over. Somerville, well done, found some space, then pops it up to half forward. Alessio, can he get into it? No. Brown takes the mark. Mercury will be disappointed. There was no contest in the end. The Bombers lead in a thriller here by 6 points. It's 74 to 68.
Brown just holding the ball up. No one really to kick to make a certainty of keeping possession of the ball, so he's got to bomb it away in the area there of Scotty Wine, being held by the left. The advantage is with the Bullies. Chris Grant took it on, gave it to Robbins to full forward. Rowan Smith from...
All square again. 9:20 to 11:8. No place for the faint-hearted out there tonight. Heffernan, well, he gets a free kick with credit. He'll go over the top.
It's
been very good, Heffernan, since half-time.
Somerville by himself.
He's going to go to him now, Dipper. Let's see if he can take the mark. Somerville, he's got it.
It's got to go back.
It's got to go back, does it? It's time on call, John, I guess.
Yes, Bruce. And, I mean, it is untidy, but unfortunately, once the umpire has blown time on, he really doesn't have any discretion. He just has to make sure the ball is not put in play until he blows it off again. Fair enough.
So Heffernan will go long. He just pops it up again. Carosella a target. Outnumbered. Rioli, he's outnumbered as well. Dent comes across cleverly. Carosella goes to ground. The Bulldogs will try and force it to the line. Wallace was good. Can't quite get rid of it. It'll be a ball up. But a strong body there by Wallace because they were outnumbered. And he got in there.
Gee, they're not giving much away, these two sides, are they? They both want to come up with the ball.
It's been a test of strength and wills all night, hasn't it? Both mentally and physically, they've tested each other throughout the night. So in the pocket, any score tonight's handy. So 9:20 to 11:8. The Bombers deep in attack. Somerville works it back only as far as Brown. Couldn't get a kick away. Well done, Mercury. Cut off by West. West, Mercedes did well. Solomon, left foot, hooks it back to the front of the square. Somerville couldn't quite. West back turn, was going to handball, decided to kick as hard as he could. Johnson works to the front and takes a good mark in front of Robbins. They've both had good games. Now Johnson's about 52 metres from goal. He's going to kick it to the front of the square. It's probably the right option. Alessio, Somerville, Alessio, he's kicked the goal. He's got another one. The Bombers are back in front. Well, he's a clever player for a big man. He's kicked his second and Essendon lead again.
This is just an incredible match. You do not have any idea which way this is going to finish, this story. Mark Johnson's been tremendous tonight. He really has had an impact on the game since he came on. And Steve Alessio, we've seen him make a couple of goals out of nothing up forward. He looked to be out of position. Craig Ellis had a hold of one arm, but he just threw it down near the legs and stabbed it through.
Well, winners are grinners and losers can please themselves. Steve Alessio, big smile on his face as he kicked his second goal to give Essendon the advantage once again. Dimitrina tries to crash his way through. Gee, had it for an eternity. Ball out wide for Dent, back to Garlick. Bulldogs into attack. Grant, dispossessed. It's in underneath Chris Grant again. Now the umpire's found a free kick. It'll go to Hardwick.
Paid for a push, Robbo.
Push out. Damien Hardwick quickly out towards the wing. Montgomery falls over. Michael Long just trying to clear the congestion. Johnson backed himself again. Left foot kick to half forward. A real good contest here at half forward. Plunkett does well. Stands up grandly. Montgomery goes back to Plunkett. Plunkett's little left foot kick smothered off the boot. Close to the line, it's gathered by Garlick. He's got time to assess and then kicks it short. Johnson back to Plunkett. Good play by the little ginger-headed bloke there. And West kicks the ball towards full forward in the direction of Rowan Smith and Heffernan. In goes Winmar. Handball over the top. The hot spot. Heffernan runs away from Rowan Smith and goes for the safety of the line and finds it. 50 metres from goal. Chris Heffernan has forced a boundary throw in. It's exciting times at the cricket ground. 9 minutes left. Essendon lead by 1 goal.
Somerville and Wine. The Bulldogs in attack. Hardwick and Johnson. Brad Johnson towards the line, just hooks it back cleverly. Martin's got it at 50. It's good play by Brad Johnson. He played the percentages. Martin kicks the ground. He's got him.
Oh, gee, I thought he dropped that for a moment. He just took it at the second attempt. Now, what price Chris Grant running out onto the left foot like he did early on?
He's on the same spot at the other end of the ground, isn't he?
Well, he's done it once on both sides tonight. He just took it a little bit too easy, I think, once he got there, but he's done it on the left foot, he's done it on the right foot. Can he do it for a third time? He certainly has a lot of skill, this man.
That's what he's looking at. This to level the scores yet again. He goes to the left, hooks it back. He might have missed this one, I think. It's a behind. So Chris Grant has kicked 3 goals, 3. He's had a very good match. Big stats, 24 disposals and 9 marks, 6 scoring shots, 10-20 to 11-9, so a 5-point game. Pryor to bring her back in. Mistakes can kill you late in a match when it's been so tight. To himself, going for distance, or just chips it up. Good play. Somerville made it. He kept his head, Pryor. Peter Somerville. Now Wellman worked short for him. He goes hard and wide. Does he get it out far enough? Long,
oh,
gee.
Well done.
It's probably a pretty ordinary option, actually, because Grant was sitting there. Grant goes in short to Garlick. There's some tired players out there. Garlick high to fall forward. Belted away by Barnard. Winmar. Nicky Winmar hooks back from behind. Ooh. So the Bulldogs get within 4 points.
Gee, that would have been a miraculous goal. He knew roughly where the goals were. He just threw it on the boot over the shoulder, hooked it a little bit too far. But this is a nail-biting finish.
Dimatina on the bench for the Bulldogs. Kick goes wide to the members' side of the ground where Barnard is marked. Still inside his defensive 50. Back to Pryor. Plunkett's got him. Well done by Jay Plunkett. Mercedes to Heffernan. Little undecided. He's gone, Wellman. The tackle was all right. In underneath that Powell, Garlick still fighting for possession of the ball. Curley, Powell, Winmar's a chance. Little tap out Fraser. Garlick, can he find some space? He squeezes a kick towards full forward, but Hardwick marks safely. On his chest at centre half back. To Pryor. Out wide to Mercedes. Mercedes, he's had a fair bit of the football too. The kick goes short to Johnson. Left it behind, but he had time to gather. Then kick towards half-forward. Good mark. Strong mark to Craig Ellis away from Steve Alessio.
Plays on quickly off the mark. And then belts it to centre half-forward. Down the ground. Oh, it's down the ground against Alessio.
And he's telling him all about it, Craig Ellis.
It was a bit soft, I thought, Bruce.
Yeah, we see Steve Alessio come in and basically just gently touch Craig Ellis, and he goes to ground well after disposal, so the free kick paid.
Well, it's a bad kick by Chris Grant off the side, bouncing to the pocket and out of play.
Well, he went for the big torpedo punt. A few players can do it very well in the modern game, but he never looked comfortable. It was a stuttered run up and really slewed off the side of the boot. Probably better off hitting that hot spot 10 or 15 metres out.
So the boundary throw in about 35 metres from the Bulldogs' goal. Wine front spot, running on to it is Martin, can't quite get a kick away. Hardwick was very good in the tackle, and again a boundary throw in.
Gee, they're desperados, aren't they? Both of these sides have stood up for most of the night. In the first quarter it was only 3 goals apiece, and it's been nip and tuck for the rest of the game.
Wine and Somerville. Somerville just got a hand to it. Bombers with numbers. Mercury deep in defence. Clever little kick towards the pocket. Boundary throw in.
And the reason that won't be paid as delivered out of bounds is because Mercedes was actually between him and the boundary line. So given that there was a player, a teammate between Mercury and the boundary line, we see him kick the ball and Mercedes coming in from left of screen.
You reckon he meant the kick for Joe, do you?
No, I don't think he did, but he's given the benefit of the doubt.
Fair enough, John. Scotty West, handballs over the top. Martin, hemmed in. Able to get the hand pass away to Brown. He's a very skillful young player, Nathan Brown. Onto the right, punched away by Somerville to the front of the pack. Heffernan tries to tap it closer to the line. Grant confronts Mercury, and the ball spills for another throw-in. So some negative tactics by both sides. Bombers hanging on grimly. They lead by 4 points, but there's plenty of time left. 5.5 minutes to be precise. Just outside the forward 50 for the Bulldogs. Somerville's done pretty well since being on the ground. Barry Young kicks it away, hooks the kick close to the line, and I think Barry Young would be reasonably happy with that. Forces a boundary throw in right on centre wing. Nail-biting stuff. Robert Shaw, Terry Danaher, Mark Harvey, and of course the head coach Kevin Sheedy in the Bombers coach's box. Somerville tries to get the front posse, succeeds in doing so, gets the ball down to Solomon. He can't break away. Underneath all that is Scotty West, and you can see there now the tiredness creeping in. Go Dip.
Fresh players, you mentioned tiredness there. Leon Cameron's now playing half forward and Plunkett off for the Bulldogs.
So 80 to 76, about 5 minutes remaining. It's been a wonderful game. Somerville and Wine Somerville just got over the top of him. Dent's little handball didn't go far. Martin. And the thing you notice with the Bombers is really making sure that the Bulldogs don't get any space at the moment to set that free-flowing game up. It's been edge-of-the-seat stuff here. Right from the first bounce, even before the first bounce. Wine won the tap. Solomon couldn't quite. Southern was good, trying to carry it forward. But again, gang tackle. We're going to see plenty of that in the next 5 minutes. You almost think one goal here is going to nearly win it, because both teams are committed to playing that rugby style, getting numbers to the ball, holding it up, causing as many ball ups as possible. Fletcher, who sat out most of the match. Remember that Lloyd went off with what looked to be a pretty serious ankle injury. We won't know until the doctors have assessed the x-rays, but he's played basically no part in the game. Little kick from Brown, doesn't go far. Now the chance, the break. Martin's got it. Hooks the ball to centre half forward. Grant Smith, big fly. Wallace front spot. Heffernan's been terrific. Bangs the ball back to centre wing. Solomon front spot. Montgomery was good. Garlick held up very well to Curley. Curley's handball to Wine. Wine slip. Gets it back to Garlick. Garlick now measures it. Takes his time. Injuries behind the play. The ball comes in low to Smith. Long's in trouble behind play. Let's hope it's not that knee. Mercedes' handball looked a little questionable. Taken by Brown. Ripped it off Mercury to fall forward. Barnard, confident with his hands, takes the mark. The last line of defence. Long shrugs his way back up. Goes short to Barry Young.
Essendon lead by 4 points. You can see Michael Long. He looks very, very tired and sore. Close to the end of the game. The kick goes into the centre of the ground. Mercedes is absolutely wrapped up. Somehow through the football onto his boot. Todd Curley can't take the football with him. In goes Solomon. Gathered here by Cameron. Fresh legs. Run down by Long. How did Long find the grit and determination to effect the tackle? Crediuk's kick towards full forward. Now the race is on. Grant's got Heffernan, but Heffernan's kick has found the safety of the line. Well done, Michael Long. He looked tired and washed out, but by gee, he was strong in that contest at half forward. 55,230 have turned up at the G tonight to watch a tremendous clash between the Bombers and the Bulldogs. The ball is with Pryor. The kick across his left shoulder, it'll be marked. He's had a spell on the bench. Dimatina, revitalised, kicks across the line. It'll be gathered there by Dent. Beautiful hand pass. Curley goes for goal. No one there. It was. He's coughed it up to Barnard.
He's come this side. He had 3 fresh players out wide the other way, but he kicks to Carosella. I wonder how long since the last goal was scored for either team. Carosella at half back. He's kicked 3 tonight. Carosella goes across. Well, they can see there's 25.5 minutes gone on the clock. We haven't had a goal for 12 minutes. We have had not one goal for 12 minutes. We know that there's 2.5 minutes to go. The players don't. Hardwick gets it in very short. The Bombers have made the play here. They've made an art form of this in the past, Essendon. Hardwick soaking up some time.
Coming off, Rioli coming off.
He kicks it hard and long, thanks Dipper. Alessio the target. Johnson front spot. Ridden into the ground, no free kick, it'll be a boundary throw-in. There's not long now. McVeigh comes on for Rioli. Last man standing as far as Essendon's concerned. If they can hang on, as Jason Dunstall said, it'll be one of their most famous victories, considering the odds. Mercury. Ball up again. 10-20, plays 11 goals, 10.
Well, it certainly has been a titanic struggle, both physically and mentally. And from the Bombers' point of view, they have been quite magnificent. The Bulldogs, we feel, have got 22 reasonably fit players. The Bombers, they've had 2 players go off the ground with injuries, Fletcher and Lloyd. Buick, we think, is concussed. And haven't they been confronted and found something? Alessio's kick finds touch. Down to a minute and a half. Big hearts, the Bombers. Huge hearts.
I tell you what, there must be some loose Bulldogs out there, because the Bombers have got a couple of loose men in defence, Somerville and Wallace.
Wind doing the ruck work. Chance here for Danny Southern. Scotty West squeezes a kick. The Bullies are on the end of it. Marcus taken by Johnson. We thought he may have been struggling a bit, but he gets his kick towards half forward. No one home. The Bombers are going to take the mark. Barnard's been terrific. Last couple of forays forward for the Bulldogs have been chopped off by Paul Barnard. Goes wide to McVeigh. McVeigh out to the wing. Blumfield couldn't take the mark. Play on. Ooh. Now it's gathered by Somerville. Hand pass away. Blumfield releases Barnard. Barnard in turn finds Fraser. And against the odds, the Bombers may get a goal. Barry Young. Wallace drops the mark. Bullies rebound. Robbins, they've got players out the outer side. There's only seconds left. Can they snatch a victory? Garlick to Dent. 30 seconds left. Down goes Dent. Dent towards half forward. At the back, Brown. He's nearly taken the mark. Can't shrug the tackle. Grant. By Joey, this is great footy. Blumfield. Still Essendon. 17 seconds left. Cameron to Martin. Martin releases the player. Dimatina goes down. Pryor. The Bombers are going to win the game. The Bombers are going to win a sensational Friday night football at the cricket ground. 3 seconds left. The ball is in the centre of the ground. Scotty Wine, this will be the last passage of play. A ruck contest, 15 metres wide of the centre circle. Up goes Wine, and folks, you have just witnessed a ball biter.
Thanks very much, Bruce. Well, Paul, just a great win, one of the best ones it's been for a long time.
Oh, it's certainly the best I've been a part of. We battled all night, we lost 2 key players, and we just thought that if we could take over the mantle from other people like Hurdy, Lucas, Fletcher, Lloyd, and we could make sure that we lift the bar, then we all can do it together and we can overcome teams like this who, you know, they're a great team, but I'm just naked.
Off you go, mate, off you go.
Well, fantastic stuff. You wouldn't have given 2 bob for their chances halfway through the second quarter, but they made it. 11 goals, 10, a terrific game. Close all night, and 80 plays at 70.